the self-focus mechanism. So self-focus instigates a process of self-evaluation, right? Remember what I told you about that, self-evaluation. And it's when you identify discrepancies between your present status on some dimension and an ideal standard, okay? Self-evaluation. And then in the instance where you fall short of that standard, right? Your money, your work, your relationship with whoever it is. When you fall short of that standard, the self-focus produces a negative effect. And as a result of that negative effect, you're going to make attempts, the individual makes attempts to reduce the discrepancy, to avoid the self-focusing stimuli. Now, this functions as a negative feedback cycle, right? Because it serves the purpose of comparing your current status with a particular goal. And it's designed to keep you on track in the pursuit of your goals, right? The self-focus. How am I doing? This is where I need to be. This is where I am. Can I close the gap? What needs to be done, right? It means well. The things inside of you mean well, right? What is that? The path to hell is paved with good intentions. It's the same thing here. So, how does the gap dictate the emotion? So, some specific motivational and emotional states, right? Emotional states, feel terrible, you feel bad, feel nauseous. Oh, this anxiety is killing me. They're influenced by the magnitude and by the accessibility and the type of discrepancy that exists between your self-concept and self-guides, okay? So if it's a money issue you've got, if it's a career issue, a business issue, a problem with your partner, your kids, whatever it is, so you have this discrepancy, and your emotional state, it's going to be influenced by the magnitude, right? What is the importance of this issue that I'm having a gap in? How accessible is it? Meaning, how easy is it to come up into the top of my mind, right? Am I accessing this every few minutes or, once every blue moon, right? So if it's very accessible, it means it's a problem that's just constantly in your mind. And the type of discrepancy, right? So is it a large problem? I'm short a ton of money. How am I going to pay rent? This kind of thing. The magnitude, accessibility, and the type of discrepancy. So that leads to a path to two very significant and negative emotional states. One of them is anxiety, and the other is depression. So the anxiety, I want you to understand the difference between these two. Anxiety is associated with actual versus ought to. Actual, I oughta, right? I ought to have this, have done this, be this way. That's what anxiety is associated with. So it occurs when you fail to meet your duties, your obligations, or external rules, and it leads to a sense of impending threat or punishment, right? Because at the base of anxiety is worry. I'm worried about impending threat or punishment. Now, depression is different. It's associated with actual ideal discrepancies. Remember, anxiety is actual ought, and depression is actual ideal discrepancies. Very interesting. Meaning that depression occurs when you fall short of your own personal hopes, wishes, and aspirations, and that leads to a sense of failure or loss. So at the base of anxiety is worry, right? Because of an impending threat or punishment in the near future. And depression is basically when you fall short and it leads to a sense of failure or loss. Okay, so depression is an actual ideal discrepancy. Anxiety is an actual ought discrepancy. Very interesting. All right, a few talking points. Attention, right, can be directed inwards towards yourself or outwards towards your environment. And heightened self-focus is an intentional trait variable and it's associated with vulnerability to anxiety states and depression. Okay, self-focus. I really strongly recommend you go through some of the most recent videos and see what you're interested in watching. It's related to this. Okay, self-focus creates a process of self-evaluation and that identifies with discrepancies between your present state and an ideal standard. Great. And if there's a negative discrepancy between your current state and the standard, your brain, you essentially are going to make attempts to reduce the discrepancy, to close the gap, right? I need more money. I need more money by the end of this month. I need X amount. I don't have that amount. What am I going to do to put these funds together, right? I need a job by this date. I don't have the job right now. What am I going to do, right? I'm losing this person because I've acted like a heel. I need to fix things. Is it fixable? Okay? So these attempts to fix are followed by further comparisons with the standard and further attempts to reduce the discrepancy if there still is one, right? So you make an effort to fix some issue. It's important to you. Keeps coming up. You make some effort and then you do a quick evaluation. Am I closer? Am I doing the right thing? You know, what do I need to do now? Okay. Now, you exit that cycle when you meet the standard, right? So you meet your financial objectives, you get the job, you get the woman or man, you're great. Or your children or parents are happy with you, great, problem solved. Now, you're going to get a negative effect, negative feeling, when you perceive there's a low probability to reduce the discrepancy. Okay, so no matter what you do, despite all of your positive efforts, you're not closing the gap. You're not making any headway, right? So you're going to feel bad. The negative effect ensues. Okay? If you have a low expectation to close that gap, to reduce the discrepancy, to solve the problem, it's going to result in your behavioral withdrawal from the situation. You're going to stop making an effort. And if that's not possible, you're going to mentally disengage. Okay? Now, this self-discrepancy approach, it accounts for your vulnerability to specific motivational and emotional states, right? Again, we said based on the magnitude, the accessibility, and the type of issue. All right, great.